I'm Dr. Cali Estes. I am known as the female Dr. Drew and the battery recharger, and I own Sober on Demand and the Addictions Academy. What if I told you I built a 6-figure and a 7-figure company purely on law of attraction? Let me explain it to you. The first time I was homeless, I was in a sleeping bag in Huntington Beach at the base of the Hilton. And I looked up at the Hilton every night and I said to myself, one day I'll be able to afford one of those rooms. 3 years later, I had built a 7-figure company in the fitness industry, and I laid up in that penthouse for a month and a half. And I looked over where my sleeping bag was. And I did that with $300 in my bank account. I couldn't pay the rent. I did that as well when I built my addiction company called Sober on Demand and the Addictions Academy. And I built that entire company on $300. And I did it because I was working for a treatment center, watching the people come and go, watching the owner pull up in a Bugatti, and his wife had more than 30 pairs of red bottom shoes. She had one for every day. And one day I walked into the office and the owner said to me, I got to talk to you about something. And I had placed a client in a treatment facility and he didn't like where we used the facility. And he threw a notebook at me. And I said, I have 2 words for you. And he said, what, F me? I said, I quit. He said, you can't quit. You need me. You live in Miami. You need me to pay your rent. And I said, no, I don't. And that's the day I started my addiction company. And I work with the top 1 to 5% of clients. I work with executives. I work with celebrities. I work with all the sports teams, NFL, NBA, NHL, specifically to help the top tier people get the service that these treatment centers cannot, will not provide. That's what I do. And I did it with $300 in my bank account again. And I come home and told my husband I quit my job. And we're living in Miami. And he said, you know, rent's due in 2 weeks. And we don't have it. I said, I'll get it. He said, how are you going to do that? And I said, it's all mindset. And he said, okay, that's great, but we don't have any money. That's mindset. Took a piece of paper, wrote down how much I need to make, went on Vistaprint, bought some business cards, put them out at the gym, put them out at Starbucks. And I got a phone call about 48 hours later. I met a gentleman for coffee and I signed him up for 10 sessions for $2,500, collected the check that day. That was 48 hours after I quit my job. Came home. My husband was shocked. He said, how did you do that? I said, mindset. Everything you do is frequency. Everybody you meet is on the frequency you're on. So if you're putting out anger into the world, you're going to get anger back. Think about it. You wake up in the morning and you're late. You're rushing to get out the door. Everything goes wrong. You drop your coffee. You can't find your keys. Your purse gets caught on the door handle. You get out to the car doesn't start. Traffic is a nightmare coming in wherever you're going because you're in the mindset of being angry. So you're attracting all angry energy. When you put yourself in the mindset of abundance, guess what you get? Abundance. But there is a trick to doing this. Vision boards are dead. Mantras are dead. Manifestation lists of 10 things I say every day are dead because you're not doing the 3-step process. So you need 3 things to make this happen. The first one is intention. And I don't mean vague intention. You need very specific things you want. I want to make a lot of money is not it's too big of a goal. It's not a refined goal. Because what is a lot of money? $100, $1,000, $1 million, $1 billion? You have to be specific. I want to make $1 million this year. Okay, great. Then once you have intention down and you know what you want, and this is where you use your vision board and you use your mantras and you make those lists in the intention piece. You focus on that every day. But the second piece is what most people miss. You have to have gratitude. You have to live as if you already have the $1 million or the new house or the Maserati, whatever it is. And you're grateful for it. And every day for 17 seconds, you have to be in gratitude for that thing. You have to envision, your mind sends it out, I want this, and your heart draws it in. I want this and I'm very happy I have it, And you have to imagine how happy you are with that thing or that person or that trip, whatever it is. Those are the first two pieces. You have to live as if you already have it. I get it. You check your bank account, it has $300 in it. You want it to have 3 million. You have to pretend it has 3 million. Jim Carrey wrote a check to himself before he was ever famous for $1 million. He wanted the $1 million. Every time I go to a restaurant, people would ask me, hey, how are you doing? What do you want? And I will tell every server, I want $1 million and a Maserati. Then one day I got the $1 million in the Maserati. And I went, I need something different. And a mentor of mine said, once you realize you can buy the Maserati, you want to buy the dealership. That changes the game. So my intention changed. My gratitude changed. But the last piece of this is action. You can't get what you want by just imagining it and then being happy you have it. You have to do the action steps to get it. You cannot sit on the sofa and expect it to fall in your lap. This is not Instacart and DoorDash. You have to actually do the action step. What are you going to do to get it? What does that look like? Is it building a company? Is it doing a side hustle? If you're working 9 to 5, you know how much money you make, and you want $1 million in a Maserati and you make $48,000 a year, that's not going to happen. Unless you have some rich aunt or uncle that dies and you get an inheritance. How are you going to make that happen? What does that look like? So those are your 3 key takeaways today. Intention, gratitude, and action, and you can make anything you want happen. I built 6 companies with almost no money using that 3-step process. So if you remember nothing else I teach you today, remember that.